Hello everyone, this is Daniel and welcome to part 19 of this character modeling tutorial series. So, reviewing my progress, I noticed that there are a couple of places where I still lack a few details. So today we're just going to look at those areas. Starting with the arm possibly, I realized that in the design, we have a little bit more details here on the arm. You can see it maybe better here. So we need to add a couple of rings here. We also need to do something at the hand, something like this. And finally, we could just look a little bit at these joints here. Just add a tiny bit of detail there if we want. So that's what's basically on our to-do list for today. So for the arm, I can basically start by maybe entering edit mode in this joint. I'm just going to select one of these loops, make a copy, move it a little bit to the side, and I don't want to use proportional editing. Let's rotate it something like this, and then I will separate the selection to a separate object like this. Now this is going to be our starting point, and of course from here we will have to position it correctly. Roughly like this. And in order to make sure that we're extruding this now in a 90-degree angle, I'm going to fill this face with F and then extrude it with E, and then it's going to extrude it up straight. It should be roughly to around here. And as you can see, we're pretty good, but we're a bit off as well from this side. So now we're just going to rotate it and align it so that it fits on both ends. And with that we can delete the caps and it should be fine. Finally, we can maybe scale it a little bit up, just a tiny bit with Alt S. And yeah, that's a good starting point. Actually, let's fill this in again, just so that we can extrude this downwards a little bit further. Delete this face again. And now we have an idea where this is. Okay, so I guess all in all this is a bit too thick after all. I will scale it down so that it kind of lines up with the edges here. I don't want it to be wider than that. And so the arm is going to be in the way, so what we'll have to do is to make the arm a little bit thinner instead. So I'm going to just select here the arm region. So if you remember, we sculpted this area in the one of the first couple of parts. I'll use proportional editing here, set to sharp, and I kind of should do this on both sides. I wonder if, yeah, okay, the symmetry feature works quite well here, so we'll just do it with symmetry. And now we'll just, scale it down a little bit. Make sure you adjust the radius so that it looks nice. And we'll do something like this. Now, this looks a bit strange, but you can just go in here with the smooth brush and quickly just brush over this a couple of times, just to remove some of the artifacts. But that's very nice, because now it even looks like there's a little bit of pressure on the arm. And okay, so that didn't work out as well as I was hoping. So what we do is we just go in here to the symmetry, and if this is going the wrong direction, just change this setting here quickly, and now it's going to flip this side to the other. So that worked pretty well. Now we can focus on doing the arm. I'm quickly recalculating the normals with Shift N as usual. We don't need this face at the bottom in case it still was there. And now let's take a look. So from here, I'm just going to add some details. Here, of course, we'll need to scale this down like so. And we'll do 1, 2, 3 or 4 cuts. I think 3 cuts will be fine, like this. So Control R, use your scroll wheel to increase the number of cuts, and then just confirm with a click. So I'm selecting these couple of loops next. I will select this one down here as well. And with Control B, we can bevel and get a result like this. I'm just wondering if we should be, let's undo a couple of steps. I'm just going to move this loop a little bit higher before I do that. So this will look a little bit better. So Control B, bevel, then you get something like this. And then we'll use extrude, E for extrude, and then Alt S to sort of deflate this area. And this will give you a pretty good result. Finally, we'll need to crease these edges a little bit better, but what I prefer to do maybe is to just add a few more loop cuts like this. This will make the curvature a little bit nicer and a bit more even. And we do, yeah, it looks pretty much alright. You can also set the shading to smooth quickly to see the result, and that looks actually very pretty. So now the arm is still a little bit in the way, as you can see here. So it will probably be the best if we just go in here one more time and we just use Alt S and scale this down a little bit further. Like so. Finally, of course, since this looks a little bit stretched here, I'll go into sculpt mode with this, and first of all, let's take a clay brush maybe. Okay, my tablet seems to be not working at the moment. Oh, okay, well, I think I found the issue, but anyway, we'll just do it with the mouse. I'm just going to click a couple of times on this with my smoothing tool, so hold shift and smooth this area out a little bit. And then just going to maybe drag this in a little bit further like this with the move brush. Yeah, this is definitely easier with the tablet. I'm just saying that so you know. But yeah, I guess that's good enough for now. You know, work a little bit on it if you can. I'm just going to, after the video, confirm my tablet settings and you know, just do a little bit of strokes here to make this transition a bit sharper. I mean, this is a bit too soft. It looks almost like the arm is a balloon at this point, so you do want to fix it a little bit, but yeah, something like this should be good. Symmetry wise looks okay, no issue there. So yeah, that's the arm done. So what was the next thing? Yeah, at the hand we do need to add a little bit of detail here. So we go to this side. I'm just going to make a copy of this face here and then use this to create the new mesh that we need. So I start with a cut through here, and it seems like we will also need a cut through here. Let's see if we can hit it. It should be around here. And then we have like a circle in the middle. I can use Control-Shift-B to get this started a little bit by adding like a bevel. And let's just go ahead and add cuts like that then. I guess that's the obvious next step. That will allow us to select this and hit circle in your loop tools. And then you can also still select all of them and just hit flatten, just in case we broke a little bit of the flatness there. But that should give you a nice circle to work with. Oh yeah, I should show you the reference quickly maybe. This is what it looks like. So we don't need to go super detailed, but you know, 2 lines here and a circle in the middle. Now we don't need this face, and we will split this with a bevel like so, and then just delete these faces. And here you have it. Let's just change the material, extrude this up a little bit, and Now we just need to crease the edges around. I think creasing will be a good approach here, so let's try to hit F3 and select sharp edges. Then just adjust this this value here until, yeah, these are not selected, these around are selected, and now you can just increase the crease angle, and you may as well go ahead and just make it. So we have a little bit of an issue here, I guess. We could possibly just fix it by moving this out, but I think a better way will be to quickly go in here, set the subdivision levels to 1, apply that, then add subdivision surface one more time. And then we have a little bit more to work with, and I might just go ahead and it will be good if we delete all these extruded points one more time so that we're back to a flat face. That will make it easier for us to work on the shape. I might just go ahead and try to bring these into hit Alt Shift S, I believe. Alt Shift S will allow you to make this to a circle. And then the next step that I'm going to take is I'll use the scale, or I guess we don't even need to go in here. Just make sure instead of global you set this here to view, and now if I scale and I hit Y, it will scale along the view and not along the Y-axis. So that's also handy to just stretch this again. I'll do the similar thing here, Alt Shift S, set this to 1, and then along Y just scale it down a little bit. Or we can just, you know, do one more different trick. First of all, hit the entire thing, select it all, and hit Shift N. Also there's one vertex left here. Let's just push these over a little bit. And then I'm just going to select these rings and hit G twice and bring it all the way to one side, and then hit G twice again and then bring it back to the center. That will kind of even things out. Now I'm also going to change this setting here back to global just so that we don't forget about it. And let's just try to extrude it one more time. So that looks a bit better now. I'll also add a few more loop cuts around here just to increase the sharpness of all this. By the way, I guess we should have probably creased these edges here, but it's okay. I actually prefer doing all this with loop cuts. Select everything, and with Shift E, let's actually decrease the amount of the creasing effect that we have, just so that the edges are a bit smoother than what we had. Shift E, turn it down a little bit, and that looks quite okay. You know, when smoothing things, it's easy to lose volume though, so one thing I usually like to do if I feel like it's a bit too thin and everything, I just hit Alt S and I inflate it all, and it just brings things closer together, and in this case I think it's quite a easy way and an appropriate way to improve the situation a little bit. And finally, let's actually try to make loop cuts here and bring this a bit closer. I think that will look a little bit better, even though it's not super perfectly aligned and everything. If it is too much of an issue, we can actually just go in and edit these a little bit. Just push them out slightly so that the curvature is more emphasized. And just like that, should have a pretty good result here. Now let me quickly take a look at the reference again. Yes, so we still have a little bit of a detail here in the middle. What I might just go ahead and do is select a bunch of these here. Just make a copy and separate them into separate object. Now we can just go ahead and connect these up. And now all you need to do is hit circle here, hit relax maybe, hit spacing, and in the end hit circle one more time. That should pretty much bring them into a nice circle. Now the vertex count is 25, so that's a bit of a strange number that I don't like too much. So if we delete, how many should we delete? Let's go for 24 maybe. Well, then we would just need to delete one. Let's go for 16. So let's just delete a couple of them and see where this gets us to. So that's 19, a few more. So that's 16 now. And now we just do the same thing again. Let's equalize the spacing and hit the circle tool again. And after hitting them, it should be a nice, good circle. I'll also remove all the creasing from it, since we don't need that anymore. And now we can just make, a little bit of a shape that goes over all of this. Like so. And once you have that, I'm just going to go ahead and add some extrusions here and there to just give it a nice and interesting shape. And in the middle, we finally have a little bit of a sphere. So just using scaling and Alt-S for inflate, just going to make this shape. Now again, if I zoom in a lot, I tend to make features too small. Now this is like a really fine edge, which is way too fine for this design, I believe. So I'm just going in here and inflate it all a little bit. And in case you get any artifacts like here, you can go in here and just move these by hitting G twice, just a tiny bit so that they don't intersect anymore. But yeah, that looks a little bit better now. If these lines are a bit too far apart, we can quickly adjust that as well by selecting these here and moving them closer together. I'm just trying to improve these lines a little bit here, since I like these to be straight at least. Yeah, but this is a lot nicer. I made these lines a little bit thinner, added the detail in the middle here, and that looks good. Maybe just generally we can move the entire thing a little bit inside. That could help. Oh, and I think I should extrude this one more time here to make sure that this is that this has a nice shape. So now it doesn't stand out so much, so that's very nice. Yep. Finally, for the belt, quickly want to do this because I don't want to leave it for the next part. I'm just going to select this loop, copy it, move it into a separate object. We may as well go ahead and change the color for it. Do we have anything colored similarly? Not really. Oh, the hair, right. We'll use the hair color. So there we go. And now with that, you can just hit Alt-S and inflate it a little bit. We don't need the crease edges for now. Go ahead and add a solid fill modifier. Move it before the subdivision maybe. And give it a little bit of thickness, a little bit of an offset if you want. And that should be just fine. Give it a little bit of an edge here as well to make the lines harder. And then just adjust the offset a little bit. Alright, and the belt kind of ended up being a bit too thin if you ask me, so I might just go in here and select the entire loop and move it up further and move this down further. You'll need to adjust the scale of these rings a little bit. I hope that we don't get too much offset in the back here. Let's just confirm it all. Just make sure you have roughly the same amount of a step here on all sides. Yeah, but that looks fine if you ask me. Finally, I just think that this is a bit too strong of a kind of curve here. So with this set to smooth, maybe just going to push this up a little bit to make it look more like a belt. So this has a stronger curve and this has a more of a smoother curve. That looks a little bit better from a design perspective. And that looks now nice. Yep, there we go. We have a little bit of a belt also done. And this video is getting long, isn't it? Let's see. Actually, I've decided to just leave it here. I think that's pretty good. We added a bunch of new details. So this is new, and the belt is new. So we can almost start with retopology and reducing and optimizing for game engine. That will also include texturing very soon, and then we'll finally start to see sort of the face come together. It still takes a little bit of time to get there, but yeah, I think we're doing pretty well so far. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you didn't have any problems following along, and I hope you enjoyed it all, and I'll see you next time.